Hi everybody, this is Ray Taft with another Creation Corner, the second in our installments that we're having here at PVCA. It's kind of a new thing that we're doing to talk about science, the Bible, creation, things of that nature. Today, sometimes people ask me what it means to integrate faith and science together. And there's an awful lot of ground and things that you can do there. I've learned over the years it's fun to play with the idea, and there's an awful lot that God discloses through his creation. So when I get to chemistry, which is grade 11, we look at something called the chemical reaction. And of course it strikes fear into the hearts of students, but it's nothing more than a recipe I tell them. I say pretend you're baking a cake. When you bake a cake, you put in the flour, the shortening, the margarine, the vanilla, whatever else. And you can't just dump those things in any particular ratio or randomness. You have to have an exact ratio that you do it with. Otherwise, you're going to have a big mess. You're going to have a spoiled cake. It'll be too crusty. It'll be too mushy or whatever. And the same thing is true of chemistry. With a chemical reaction, which is nothing more than a recipe, you're, in this case, making water. So we have hydrogen, we have oxygen, and that's making water. The arrow means to make. The arrow also is an equal sign, and it means that the number of atoms, and these are atoms right here composing these molecules, should be the same in count and nature than what you have on the other side too. So they have to come along and they have to balance this, because as it stands right now, this is an impossible situation. It's impossible because you have two hydrogen atoms here, two oxygens here, but only one there. That's not a balanced situation, so I guess we could say right now this is an unequal state. Can't have that. You see, I've learned one thing about being a science person and about being a human being is that I can't create or destroy anything. I can't take something and annihilate it or bring out of nothing something entirely brand new. That's God's job. He does this in a process we call miracles. So the contents of the universe are kind of closed and they're all sort of there, and that's what we have to work with. So I get plenty of hydrogen, oxygen, and water to work with, and I can create these things, but only according to the rules God has established. So when students go to balance this, they have to say, just as with a cake, I have to have the right number of cups of flour, the right number of teaspoons of vanilla and milk, and so forth. So I tell my students, you have two oxygens here. Let's adjust this side of the equation. So now we have two oxygens there. Of course, that changes the hydrogen count to 4, so we do this. Now my recipe will work. If I have two quantities plus one quantity, I get two quantities with nothing left over, and I didn't violate any laws of conservation in the universe. The chemical equation teaches me one thing as a science person. It teaches me that I am limited in scope. God has put the programming in all matter, and I get to work with it to my heart's content. And there's all kinds of reactions out there, but I can't just go ahead and bring matter into the universe as though I were unzipping it, reaching out and bringing it in, or discarding that material. It's all here for me to work with, and I have to do it, have to use his rules and so forth. So my limitedness as a creation person, as a created being, can be shown in nothing more than exposing a chemical reaction. And that's kind of important, because sometimes our pride and our arrogance gets in the way, but the chemical reaction reminds us that there's no room for that, because only God can violate his own rules. I'm constrained by them. Thank you.